Hi, welcome to this segment of Florida Event Heroes, sponsored by the Florida Festivals and Events Association. I am Reines, Special Events and Talent Coordinator for the City of West Palm Beach. With me today, I have Sharon McAllister, the 21-year Executive Director of ArtFest Fort Myers, Southwest Florida's premier art festival and largest weekend event. Megan Tramonte has been with ArtFest Fort Myers for 5 years, starting as an intern and then production manager. She is responsible for all logistics, site plan, equipment, tents, and more for ArtFest and its related events. And Erin Jackson, who has been with ArtFest Fort Myers for 7 years, starting as a weekend volunteer in high school, then an intern in college, then a committee leader, and finally joined the staff as community engagement manager 3 years ago, responsible for artist and volunteer relations, social media, and more. Welcome, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. Let's dive right in so the audience can see why you are this week's Florida Event Heroes. First question. My partner in this series, Kristen Hicks, who is conducting the written interviews on Event Heroes, and I were discussing how blessed we feel to live in Florida, where events were able to start back up again much sooner than other parts of the country and even the world during the pandemic. Do you feel that the area of the state you're based in, Southwest Florida, or in Florida in general, has helped you get back to live events faster than other parts of the state or the country?
Yeah, I think so. And it's certainly Florida opened up earlier than other people. And so the events were able to come back here and develop ways to do that safely. And I think that one of the things we thought about a lot was that just because we could do that and other states couldn't or other areas couldn't, should we do that? And it took us a while, probably till about August, to decide that we could do that safely. So other states are not as fortunate as us and have not been able to do that, but the learning to do it safely was really the guiding thing.
And that you bring up an excellent point that every planner had to look at this entire past year, safety. And we know that all events that have gotten back do have that as the number one key element in mind. So leading in our next question, the pandemic forced every planner to re-examine their entire rule book for how effective events are produced. What one new idea that you or your team came up with and implemented can you share with your fellow FFEA members as a best practice going forward?
Not to sound redundant, but I really think the best practice is thinking about should you do it, and whether that is kind of asking that question, and whether that applies to do you have hand sanitizer stations? Yes or no? How many? Should you not have them? Is that safe? Make people bring their own? I mean, just keep asking that question. And whether that was about children's activities, our answer for that was no. We could have carried out children's activities and we chose not to. And we could have carried out our VIP. Well, we could have still had our VIP Friday night party in a 5,000 square foot tent. There is nothing safe about that. So we didn't have it. We had people who said, oh, you should have had it. Well, there was no safe way to do that. So just keep asking that over and over. And that, I think, resulted in us making really good decisions. I think some of our decisions were more conservative than they needed to be, but we were planning that in October and November for a February event. If we were planning today for a August, September event, we might make totally different decisions. Answering that same question though.
Exactly. Conservative, that's a great word to describe how event planners are moving forward in general and been putting the timestamp on it. How are you planning last summer versus how you might be planning today? I'm interested to know, were you able to retain all of your staff throughout the pandemic? And what does your current event portfolio look like? Is ArtFest Fort Myers only produced as a live event, or have you added some virtual components?
We'll let someone else work on that answer.
Sharon, Megan?
I will take that one. So we were fortunate to retain all three of us on staff. We were able to apply for PPP and we're able to use that. That helped us a lot. Sharon jokes that was actually should have been one of our sponsors for the festival, because without that, it would have been very difficult moving forward. So we're very fortunate. So we did have our event in 2020 and in 2021, but moving into 2021, we kind of went a hybrid route. We had our in-person event kind of scaled back, very safe. We limited the number of artists. We limited the number of people that could attend. And then we also had a virtual event, ArtFest at Home, that we launched. And we had a virtual team that we had 2 interns and the help of Cindy Larrick help us with ArtFest at Home, and they ran a wonderful virtual festival alongside our in-person festival. So that was something new for us, kind of having 2 events at once in a very complicated year, to where we had so many safety precautions. I don't think Megan's ever purchased so much hand sanitizer and Clorox wipes and so many different things that we never really needed before or needed in excess before. So yeah, I think 2021 worked out the way it needed to work out, and artists were happy, volunteers were happy to be back volunteering, patrons were happy to be attending. The numbers were very low for people that attended, but everyone that was there was happy and safe, and that's all we can ask for. So I think moving into 2022, we'll still, I think, have a hybrid type event. We'll still have our in-person, and then we'll still have some sort of virtual component. To what that virtual component will be, we're talking about that now, but I think moving forward, virtual will always be a part of ArtFest Fort Myers.
Off topic, or not off topic, but this wasn't, you didn't know I was going to ask this question. I apologize if you don't have the answer, but on the virtual component, were you able to come up with any metrics? How many people participated? How did the audience, or your virtual audience, respond to that?
You may or may not know this, Erin, right? So that
I don't know the numbers.
the virtual event, it's ongoing. So there was a virtual event that went with the festival itself, with its artists, for a little over a month. That event had a little over 37,000 visits to the website.
Right.
And I think it was 7,200 of those were unique visitors. So we think that was pretty good attendance for a virtual activity, since this is new to everybody, this whole virtual idea. Now it is ongoing. So now the ArtFest at Home has a different group of artists on it at the moment. And that show is still open. And I think to date, it's had about 7,000 visits and 700 uniques, much less. Its promotion's less because it's not with the art festival. And then it will continue to go on during the year as a way to start implementing more diversity and inclusivity with the event.
So perhaps people were even able to attend virtually that would not have been able to attend even in a normal year,
Right.
because they couldn't travel or something. So that's an incredible win for you guys, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think it's an incredible win for artists, and because there's lots
general.
of people who, for whatever reason, totally aside from a pandemic, can't or don't want to attend an in-person event for whatever their own reasons are.
Absolutely. Megan, I have a question for you. What was what was the most unique thing that ArtFest Fort Myers did or is doing now to make the event successful and stay relevant during the pandemic? We might have already talked about that, but more.
Yeah, so, the things that we did may or may not be unique in and of themselves, but they're unique to us this year. We gave people different ways to participate. So instead of only having the in-person event, like Erin said, we had virtual events as well. And it started last summer, actually. We did a virtual summer run. Some people probably know that we do a 5K at the actual event in February at ArtFest. And we decided why couldn't we do one over the summer outside of the event parameters? So we started with that. And then we also did a virtual Art Under 20 over the summer. And then we did a virtual chalk block over the summer, which are both components of our ArtFest Fort Myers in February as well. So, we did those things because we felt like that was a great way to engage people outside of our usual event. Another thing that we started doing are ArtFest pop-ups. So they're basically a scaled down version of an art show. We had 3 to 4 artists at each one. And it was, a much more intimate setting. But it was a great art buying experience, kind of, tantalizing people, getting them ready for the February event. And those are ongoing as well. And they're really fun. It's great to see people come out and get a little bit more one-on-one with artists. And another thing that we did at the actual event that was probably my favorite part, we have, like I said, chalk block. We gave people, students, the student teams, we gave them two options. You could either participate live in person at the event, or you could do your piece ahead of time at school and drop it off and deliver it to the event. It really just gave people that choice if they're comfortable to attend in person or not. But it also allowed everyone to participate. It wasn't like the pandemic excluded anyone, which I thought was really great, because that essentially was the goal of the whole event, is to make sure that everyone feels safe, and we bring the event to everyone, not just people who are capable and healthy enough to attend the in-person. We wanted everyone to be able to enjoy it.
That is so well said, that the pandemic didn't exclude anyone. Everybody was included. Love that. So ladies, when speaking candidly, like we have today, about the challenges event planners have faced over the past year, it can be somewhat overwhelming, even depressing, to look at where we are now compared to how the landscape looked in 2019. However, we are optimistic for a bright future in the world of events, and we like to end every discussion on a high note. And I think we've pretty much kept this one on a high note throughout, so we're doing great. But I'm going to ask each of you to provide some concluding remarks that leave our audience with hope for the future, and we'll start with Sharon.
Well, I've been involved in events for well over 20 years, with ArtFest for 21 and another event before that. And I've been involved with FFEA since, I believe, its second year in existence. And I don't think there's a more exciting time.
Well, I think that, having been through all of this, event planners are kind of pioneers. We've never done anything like this before. I think most people can attest to that. We have gained such a valuable skill set, being able to adapt and really stay on our toes. That's always been the thing with event planners, always on your toes, but nothing like this before. And I think that just really makes us pioneers in the event world. I mean, this will go down in history, at least for ArtFest. I'm sure other events can attest to that as well.
Let's make it a one-time thing, though.
Yeah, right.
That's our hope, right? That's your
Yeah.
Erin, how about you?
Oh yeah, hi. So this really gives all events and event planners a chance to come back better than they did before. You have a chance to rebrand if you want. You have a chance to, reestablish your already existing brand. You have a chance to reevaluate all your programming and all your goals and make them better and improve on them. Kind of gives everyone a chance to reset if they wish to do that.
Absolutely. Guys, I think everybody can agree with all of your statements that we are a great team. The entire worldwide event planning team, as we are, we're resilient, we're staying on our toes, and we do have hope for the future. Thank you so much, Sharon, Megan, and Erin, for the outstanding work you do at ArtFest Fort Myers, and for sharing your story and insights with the FFEA community today. On behalf of the Florida Festivals and Events Association, we thank you, our audience, for your time, and hope you enjoyed today's discussion.